And welcome to the Tyrrell County Public Library's Virtual Computer Class, Lesson Number 3, our online catalog at the Tyrrell County Public Library and the Pettigrew Regional Library System. So, as opposed to last time, today we will be exploring how to search our library catalog and how to use some of our library resources in the digital aspect of the library. Before we talked about Gmail and Google Docs, as well as a little bit of Google Meets and a little bit of Docs as well, just a little bit there. Figured we'd take a break from that, and so we're just going to focus on what digital resources we offer for the next couple of videos. And the first thing we'll cover is how to search our collection through our catalog, and how you can log in and make a library account, and the whole bit. So, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up our browser. Now, there is a long address for our website. So to make it a little bit easier, and if you use Google or something like that, an easy way to find it is to go LS2 Pettigrew catalog. And so it appears right here. The search or the address bar for it, what you put in the address bar if you want to go straight to the website, is www.pettigrew.lib.nc.us :8080 slash hashtag section equal home. And I mean, you can save this, put it as a quick resource on your computer screen. You can do that on your desktop. So yeah, this is essentially what the main page of the library catalog looks like for Pettigrew Regional Library System. If you have noticed, I'm using a Mac computer. This does not, just because I'm using a Mac computer does not mean the controls on here are different from what you would find on a regular Microsoft computer. There might be a few distinctions here and there. For instance, some of the drop downs might look a little bit different, but a lot of the same features and stuff are all kind of in the same place. So the first thing you will notice is we have this waterfall of stuff that's here. It's kind of cycling through, and you might want to take a look and see what's there. So we can cycle through and see that we have all these different books and items that are listed here. Well, all these books and items are stuff that's new to the collection or new in terms of being ordered and will come in soon. So really good to know what's being offered now, what new stuff has come into our collection. And you can click right on these records, and we'll get to it a little bit later, but you can place a hold for it, add to the list. You can see which libraries have it. So right now, the one that has entered the system here, right now Washington County Public Library has it, and it's been just placed on order. So we're going to go back, and the next thing I want to show you too, we'll scroll down just a little bit, is the language settings here. So we got Francais. So if you are a French speaker, you have the option of being able to search the catalog in French. And we also have it in Espanol, or Spanish. So if you are a Spanish speaker, you have the option to search through as well. But we're going to switch over to English because I'm a native English speaker, and I would suspect many of our viewers are probably native English speakers. Doesn't mean all of them are, but most of them probably are. So, as we see here, we got our main page, and so the first thing we might want to do is do a straight search. Now, there are two different types of search directions you can go in. You can go into a general search, which is located right here, or you can do an advanced search. So, I'm just going to show you a regular general search. So, one of the easiest ways, especially if you're just trying to find a book or a particular author, is to just type in the title or type in the name of an author. So, let's go with, for example, Stephen King. So, if you want to search up an author, you start with the last name first. So King, comma, Stephen. Press enter, and here we pop up with all of Stephen King's books. And so it's all before us, all laid out. We are good to go, and we can start looking through all the different Stephen King's books. To get back to the main menu, you just click on Pedigree Regional Library System, click here, and you can start a new search. So let's say you're looking for a specific title. So, Where the Crawdads Sing. So here we have a list of all the different books by that title, which is Where the Crawdads Sing, and we can see pretty much everybody has a copy of it in our system. So we got Tyrrell and Shepherd Prudent have copies of it in large print. Shepherd Prudent has 4 copies. We have a copy. Brookwomen's has a copy. Washington has a copy. Very popular book. We also have the audiobook that's on order right now. And we also have another one of the audiobook as well that's here. So we have one that's in and another one that's on order because it's very popular. So as you can see here, we have all of these options before us for when we search up a title. Now, if you have a little bit more of an involved search, or you're looking for a type of subject, and usually any good researcher will tell you the place to start with any good, thorough search is in the advanced search. So over here, we have our advanced search tool. We click on that, and this is the screen that we come up with. Now, what we have here is a kind of a simplified version of what Boolean Logic is, a Boolean Logic search. If you're wondering what Boolean Logic is, essentially it is the computer logic that's used for a type of search. When a computer is going through and searching through a database of information and it looks at the metadata, and now metadata, quick side note, is the data that describes the data or describing whatever item it is. So metadata is title, it is author, it is subject, it is publisher, all that sort of jazz is metadata. So for this, when a computer goes through on a search, and the same thing happens with Google and any other search engine, it goes through all of the available metadata and searches through word by word. And in order for it to know what to select and bring up as a result, you have to have a Boolean logic programming in place for it to know what to do. So here, the first thing we will see are any of these fields versus all of these fields. Now, a field is a different piece of information or a word that you are searching in your search. So here we have 2 fields. And now I've added the third field. And right now, we have set all of these fields. So if I type in 3 separate things in here, and it's all like the same sort of field here, then it's going to look specifically in, like for example, if we're looking a particular set of subjects, you're looking for a book that might be on a cat, a dog, and a pig. If you do all of these fields and you put on the subject that whatever's been tagged to a particular record or is a part of a particular record that's about whatever that content is, it's going to say, well, I'm only going to bring up the results that have a dog, a cat, and a pig listed as the subjects. The selection to any of these switches to the Boolean logic of OR. So the first one we did of all these is the AND logic that you'll see kind of described down here. The AND logic is, you know, this and that needs to be in the record for it to be an option. Any of these is this or that sort of selection. So if you have cat, dog, pig, if any of the records you put in there, even if it's just about a pig, or just about a cat and a dog, or just about all 3 of them, whatever the combination may be, if it hits any one of those three things, it will bring it up because it's an or situation, this or that or this or that sort of thing. So that's essentially what the first part of that Boolean logic is. So before we go a little bit further, the different type of field options, the different parts of the metadata that you can look at, we have available here in this neat little drop down. So here we have currently selected author. The next thing is any field. So if I was to do any field and I put a word in there, like Johnson, let's put in, or John is a good example. Instead of it's searching up for like John in the title or John in the author's name or John as a subject, it's going to look for John anywhere in that metadata record. So I'll show you. We're going to press enter, and it's going to take a second to load. As you can see here, we have a whole ton of stuff that have popped up where the name John appears in the record at various locations, no matter what part of the metadata is. So we have John in the title and John in the author here. Again, same here, same there for John Glenn. We have John Biggs, which is also the title and also the author. You have John Adams, which is the title, but the author is just a historian that's on the particular subject. You have John Wall, and while this person's named John, it's not spelt John. So it won't grab onto that. Now, if you had Jonathan spelt out with an H in it, it actually might grab part of that word and put it in there as a possible result. So if you have Jonathan Wall or something like that, and Jonathan spells his name with a H in it, then that will be considered part of the result as well. It'll be a little bit further down on the list, but it will be there. So as you can see, any subject sort of selection kind of grabs the entire record and just looks for any instances of the word John appearing in it. So, we're going to go back to advanced search. There's not too much else to talk about that. The other ones are kind of a little bit more self-explanatory. So title, it just only looks for John in the title of that record. So I'll click on this and we'll do an advanced search. And here it just looks for John in the title. So see how our results are almost completely different. You still have a couple that appear there, like you have John Adams that appears in there, and we have John Wall that appears here. But we have a whole different set of results. This is because, as said before, it's just searching in that part of the metadata that is the title, the area of the title of the subject, title of the record or the book. And so that's an option. You can also do author. And as I said before, similar to how we did in the general search, if you want to search author, you have to do, at least with our catalog. Our catalog is not basic, but has a lot of not super advanced features, but it has very good features. It's a very useful tool. It's not like Google, where Google has the ability to kind of guess where you're going with the result and has all sorts of algorithms in place to filter out things and is a little bit more intuitive. Ours is a little bit more basic of computing. And so here, if we were to do author, we'd have to do, for example, we'll do the Stephen King example. King, Stephen. Or, yeah. So advanced search. And yep, we got our results here, and we have Stephen King's books pop up here. So we'll go back to our advanced search. Now the next thing we'll look is series. Now not all of our books are categorized by series, but some of them are. So we'll do Harry Potter as an example. It comes up with kind of a suggested result. So we'll click on advanced search. And here we have a couple of books that pop up that have series name next to it of Harry Potter. We try and keep up very much on, tagging things with series, but sometimes it's just difficult to narrow that down and kind of figure it out. So here it pops up with a couple of records that have been tagged with it. It's mostly our Spanish-speaking collection, but they come up as a Harry Potter series. So we're going to go back to our advanced search, and the next one we have is subject. Now, subject is exceedingly useful if you don't know exactly what title you're looking for, and you're just looking for something that is related to whatever you're looking for. So, as we had discussed a little bit earlier, a good example of a subject is, say you are doing something on dogs. You're doing research on dogs for school. And you don't know an exact title for it. You have a lot of dog results that come up, but it might be, a lot of books that have My Dog Skip or something like that. That's, it's a great little story, but you're looking more for the scientific information, or maybe more of more historical information. You might be looking for history of dogs or something. So here we just put dog in there. And so our results are going to come up with stuff that might not exactly have dog in the title. Like, here's a very good example of something that's all about dogs, but doesn't have dog in the title, that you won't find in a regular search of just dogs. So here you see Rottweilers, everything about purchase, care, nutrition, breeding, behavior, and training. The reason why that this popped up is because it's tagged. It has a subject tag with it in that metadata record. So when a record is formed, to give you an idea so you can understand a little bit of the mechanics about how searching works. When a record is created, one of the things that happens at the end of the record is an area for tags, that you just type in different subjects that it pertains to. And you might put stuff that's related to it. So we'll click on here, and we'll scroll down a little bit, and we'll see Rottweiler dog is a selection of a subject for it that might pop up. And there are sub-subjects, so you might have a whole different hierarchy of categorization. So you'll have dog, you'll have Rottweiler, you might even have above dog in that categorization canines. And you'll have wolf on one end, dog on the other end, coyote on the other end, and bears on the other end. Bears are technically considered canines. So, as you can see here, this helps get to some subjects that might not be touched on. Yeah, might not be touched on if you do a regular, straightforward title search or an author search or something like that. Subjects help get down to what is it about. You're looking for something about this, and that helps get right to where you need it to go. So we're going to go back to our advanced search here. Next thing is note. Sometimes there might be a note in a record. It's not really we don't really need to get too much into that area of the search, but you can certainly put stuff in there, like a historical book. There might be a note in there about its context or the politics, or if it was something donated. Anything that's of extra note to it. Another thing is ISBN. ISBN is essentially a number that's matched with every type of book that comes out. So the hardcover edition of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone has a number that is unique to that book that was published for that year in that particular format. Now, what I mean by format is the medium in which something is presented. So a format is, for a good example, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the softcover book, the hardcover book, and the DVD. Each of those are different formats in which you get the same thing. Even the audiobook is a different format of it. So, I digress. But essentially that's what a format is. The ISBN is specifically for books, and an ISBN characterizes one particular format of that book. So the ISBN number for Harry Potter that was released in the 90s as a hardcover is different from the Harry Potter softcover book that was also released in the 90s, maybe a year or two later. They both have different numbers. If you grab the ISBN number and put it in here, it will search through just that area and it will go to exactly that book for you to find. Now, where do we find the ISBN number? Let's say you want to get straight to finding something. Well, just flip your book over and look at the back, and right above that barcode, or right below it, depending on how it's printed, is the ISBN number. Usually it begins with a 978. Other ones, there's an ISBN 13, which begins with a 978. And then there's an ISBN 10, which doesn't have the 978, but usually has the rest of the number after that. That's where the ISBN number lives. Now, it's important to note that an ISBN number is something that's relatively new in terms of books. It only really pertains to books that were published starting in the 80s up through now. Most books got their ISBN numbers, or were getting ISBN numbers, by the 90s. In the 80s it really started to roll around. I think there were a few in the 70s, but really there is quite a gap. So if you have an older book, it probably does. If it was published before 1989, it might not have an ISBN number. If it was before 1980, it most definitely probably doesn't have an ISBN number. Not saying it doesn't, but it probably doesn't. And that standard of creating numbers for specific editions of books and things like that didn't really start picking up until the 80s and the 90s and whatnot. So you might be saying, well, what does the ISBN stand for? Well, in case you're curious, it means International Standard Book Number. So, as I just explained, it's the standard book number for a particular type of book. So, not too much else to talk about there. ISBN is only really useful insofar as if you know exactly what book you're looking for and you're just trying to get access to it. This is particularly helpful if you're looking on like Amazon for something, or if you know what a book is, you know what the edition of it is, you can put it in here to see if we have that particular edition. You might not, it's not exactly useful if you're just browsing a collection. If you know exactly what you want, then an ISBN number is exceedingly useful. Now, you'll notice in this category over here, because we changed over to ISBN means exactly matches. Well, that's because an ISBN has to kind of match exactly what it is. You can do the begins with option in it. So if it begins with X, Y, and Z number, but you're not sure what the end of that number is, then you can certainly do that, and it works. But you will come up with half a dozen results of titles that are totally unrelated to what you're looking at as well. So yes, ISBN is kind of an exact thing that you have to have. So let's see, the next thing we got is UPC. We don't really need to worry about that. Local call number is whatever call number that is being used for that location. So for us, we use Dewey Decimal System, and we also organize by author, and in our collection we also organize by subject. By book subject as well, and we put kind of a letter at the end of it to signify that, as well as an NC at the beginning if it's a North Carolina book, or a book produced about North Carolina or by a North Carolina author. So we kind of do that a little bit with our system to make it a little bit easier to find things. Call numbers can be useful. It's not the best way of searching, but you can certainly use it. It's nothing, not to say you can't use it. So we're going to go back to any field over here, and I'm going to show you what this section is over here. So this is the other, hold on, title. Alright, this is the other end of the Boolean Logic part that we were talking about. So begins with, if a title kind of begins with something like, you're searching up for a bunch of Harry Potter books, but you're not too sure what like the third one is in the series, you might say Harry Potter and then you just enter that in, and it'll look for all the books that begin with begin in the title with Harry Potter and it'll give you the list of all the different Harry Potter books. And that's exceedingly helpful if you have a part of it. Contains is not the whole thing, but has within it a phrase. So you might not have the beginning of that, but you might have a section of it. Like you're looking for a title that's about, for example, Buddhism. Let's say you want to learn about Buddhism, or you want to learn about Hinduism, or you want to learn about Zoroastrianism. You might want to look in a book title that has the mention of Buddhism or Hinduism or Zoroastrianism in it, and just put that in there and see what comes along with it. It might be a better option to just kind of search by subject in that regard if you're doing something a little bit more research oriented. But if you have an idea of what a title is, I mean, the contains bit is very good with searching for titles as well. And it's a pretty good option to have on there. And that's usually what the default setting is for most things as well. Exact matches is that it matches exactly what that title says. So if you are looking for a book that is titled The Outsiders, it's going to look for books that are exactly titled The Outsiders. And that's it. It won't look for anything else. It's just going to look in the titles for exactly those two words put together in that title. That's all it's going to look for. Does not contain is another feature of Boolean logic that is not explicitly stated here, but it is a useful tool. So let's say, going back to our cats and dogs thing we were talking about a little bit earlier, let's say you're searching up something that's specifically about cats. You want stuff that's only on cats, but you don't want anything that refers to a dog. So what you do is you put in the title area of contains cats, or you might do subject contains cats, and then you put into this title or subject option and put next to it does not contain dogs or dog, and you put that in there and you press search, and what you will have is that all the books that say cats in it will come up, and if there is a book out there that says cats and dogs, it won't bring that up. It's just going to bring up the stuff that says only cats and exclude anything. Even if it has cats in the title, it will exclude anything that says the word dogs in it. So that is a nice feature of Boolean logic. And there, that's kind of worked in here. It's not explicit, but you can still use that if you're trying to narrow down things. Subjects can get quite complicated, especially when you're getting into more niche areas of research. The not feature does come in hand when you're looking for something. So that's kind of the features there on that. Now, our next thing over here that we see are adding these little columns. So here we add this and we added a new field. So we can add a whole bunch of different fields. We can make it a very multifaceted approach. If we are not satisfied with our settings and we've done a whole bunch of stuff, we can press clear. And it goes back to what the default settings are for this, or the default search settings that we have. So we have that there. Another thing you can do is kind of a filter, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But you can select different places. So here, the default thing it does always is automatically selects everything, even if everything is not selected. It will do that with just the general search. If there's no field that's selected here for which locations you want to look for books at, it's going to select all of the available options in the Tyrrell County, in the Pettigrew Regional Library system. You can also select specific places, like I might want to search up books that are specifically in Perquimans or Tyrrell County. And so we do that, and it'll just bring up results that have the search criteria in it that we've entered, as well as the libraries that we want to go to. And we can do the same, we can select all of them to really drive home the point. It's not really going to make too much of a difference of it, but this allows for you to select a whole swath of different areas, especially if you are kind of bound to maybe one or two counties, you can just get rid of all the other clutter from other results of other counties and just select maybe 1 or 2 counties that you're willing to drive out to go find stuff. So that's how you do that. Now, as you can see here, we've kind of thoroughly talked about this. We could go on and on about Boolean logic, but I'm not going to bore you on that regard. The next thing we can do is reading levels. So we click here, and here, if you are in school or you have know somebody who's in school, or maybe you have a daughter or son that's in school, you might be following a different type of Lexile and reading level adjustment. You might be trying to look for books in a particular reading level that's suitable for the progress of the reader. You can do that in our collection. You can put down the title of whatever you're looking for, or the subject or the author. And here you can, and it's another field in our metadata for each of the different records that may have listed what the Lexile and the reading level is. Not all of our records have this, but a lot of them do, at least the ones that are step readers and the ones that are kind of required reading for schools at the high school, junior high, and even elementary level. A lot of our books in those areas will have Lexile and reading level numbers. So here, let's say I am a reading level 500 in Lexile, and here you can either search for that specific number, or you can search a range. So I will do a reading search, and you can do it without having the credentials in there. You don't have to have a specific title or author in there, but you can enter that in if you have a particular preferred author or something. So here we have a whole bunch of books that hit the 500 level in the Lexile system. So we're going to go back to reading, advanced search and reading, and we're going to switch over to 400 and 550 to that range instead of that specific number. It gives us a little bit more options. So we'll click on that, and it might take it a second to load, and as you see here, we have a much wider swath of books to choose from. We still got some of the same results, like this one was from the previous search that we did, but we have other options available here that you can grab onto, and it's really convenient, especially if you're a progressing reader and you're trying to strengthen your ability to read, or you're trying to learn, try and challenge yourself with newer and maybe a little bit more difficult reading formats. So here, we got that. So we're going to go back to our reading levels. So that's kind of the difference there. You can do the same thing with the AR system. You don't have to have these fields filled in at the same time. It doesn't have to be exact. You can do an either-or sort of approach, or you can do both. You can do AR interest level as well. There are options there for that, LG, MG, MG+, UG. And if you like a particular author, it helps to see if that author, when you type in their name, writes books at a specific level. And you want to know, as you're an advancing reader that, hey, does Dave Pilkey have books that might be a higher reading level that I can try? I like his work, and I really want to try and see what he has that might be beyond my current reading level. So, yeah, that's essentially what it is. Now, if you're curious as to what this means, you just look down here. LG means K through 3. MG is 4 through 8th grade. MG plus is 6 and up, so 6th grade and up. UG means 9th to 12th grade. So yeah, that's essentially what this is. It's not too many changing options here. You can do the same thing, clear as well. Narrow your search category as well to different locations. Again, really easy to use, very convenient if you are, working through grade school and you're trying to meet certain reading levels. This is a really good tool. So, now that we've kind of talked about how to just do a basic search and how to do a basic looking through how to research something. Let's say you want to put something on hold or something on reserve. We're going to log into our account. So we're going to go back to the main menu. You can enter it here, but we're going to go back to the main menu because you might go specifically to there. Sometimes you might need to reload the screen a little bit. So I'm going to copy this. I like seeing the waterfall, what comes through that's new. And here we have our main screen again. So we'll go into our login, and we're going to use a fake account that we have, just a fictional account for a fictional person. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Also, by the way, if you try and use these use these credentials, you will not get in. They're temporary, and it's a fake account. It's only meant for these demonstrative purposes. So sorry. So here we're going to log in. And so now we're logged into our account. Here we have Harry Houdini as our account that we have. So we're going to click on Account Summary. So the account summary here, if you're looking on this first page, is you can either print out your account summary so you can keep it for your records. But here we have the name of the patron, Harry Houdini. You have contact information, so we have the address and the phone number of the library, as well as the card number, which it'll be a much longer card number for you when it's here. The expiration date, so if you want to make sure that your card is up to date and you don't have to call and renew it, call or go in to renew it, it's right here, and it says your status is active, so you have been checking out books relatively recently, so you are an active account here. You can, you have your contact information here as well. You can enter your library PIN number. Can't really change it. I don't think you can change it. Yeah, no, you can't really change it on your own. I think before you could, but it's changed a bit since then. But you can certainly contact the library and request to have it changed, and it will update with whatever changes that you have in real time. Here we have Easy Login. So here you put your card number in. And by the way, your card number, if you're wondering, if you have your library card, on the back part of your library card, there is a number underneath a barcode. That is your library card number. Now, the PIN number that we entered into here is usually 4 digits. They can be any digits that you want. When you initially create your library card, you do not have a PIN number. In fact, you can't log into this without a PIN number. So what you do is just give us a call. We make sure that the number that you have matches your records, or the information you have matches our records, and then you can request that we enter a PIN number. Tell us what number you would like it to be. It could be your birth date. It could be something important to you, maybe a lucky number that you use, whatever. And we'll enter that into there. And then you'll have a PIN number. Keep that on your person, or remember that. And then you can log into here to access your account and place holds for stuff. So, and the other bit too that's really convenient, if you forget your PIN number, you can call us, we'll reset it and give you a new one. So it's really convenient, really easy to do. It's not something to be scared of. So here, the other bit is the easy login. So if you're somebody who likes an actual password for it and not the PIN number, well, you can enter a username here and then create a password and confirm that password. So here I might use a different name. I might just use, for example, Houdini as my username, and then I'll put a password into there. We save that, and now you can log in 2 different ways. So you don't have to type in that really long number that's on the back of your card. You can just use, your last name or whatever that you prefer as a username. Type that into that area, and then type in the easy password that you use. You can still use alternatively the long number that's available and the PIN number, but it's just for your convenience. So that's what that is. It's not too complicated. So we're going to go back up here, and as you can see, we have our account number, Harry's account over here, and we have the drop down. Now I could go tab from tab, but we're going to go down the line of what we got here. So we're going to hit on the Ancestry.com thing. So here if you click on this, because you're already logged in, we're going to right click on here just so, because when you click on it, it's going to open up in the current screen you are in. If you don't want to leave the screen you're in, then open in a new tab. And so here you have access to Ancestry Library, and you can access a whole bunch of different records, family records and stuff. It's really convenient. We'll dive into this a little bit later, and we'll give you more details as to what it is. But so you know, it is available, and you can access it not just through NC Live, but also through your library card on our catalog, and through logging in through your catalog account. So we'll X out of that. And so we're going to scroll up here a little bit. So what's our next option here after Ancestry? We have Account Activity. So we'll click on Account Activity, and here it tells you exactly what you have out at this current moment. So here we got a few kids books that are out. And we can, if we see, oh no, it's going to be due tomorrow, we can click on this and we can renew it if we want to. But we're okay for a little while, so we don't have to worry. For quite a while, actually. We don't have to worry about this too much. So yeah, but you have the option to renew these items if you need to, right from your account. You don't have to call us up or come into the library in order to get it renewed. You can renew it right online by yourself. The other thing we have here are holds. So if you have something that you requested that's a hold, it'll show that it has arrived, or it's currently in transit. Right now we don't have anything on hold, so we don't have to worry about that. Fines, we don't have any fines that are here. Got loan history, no loan history as well. So yeah, but this tells you all the stuff that you're doing with your account that's only seen by you, by the way. I can't see what you do. None of the librarians here can see what you do. This is all your private information for you to see. So it's really great for you to use. So the next thing we can do over here, we'll have our drop down. We already clicked on those, so we're going to go to Save Lists. So Saved Lists. So here we have a test list that we created. And here it's not books that we have placed on hold, but books that we might be looking to check out soon. And you might want to do a full hold order in one go if you want. And you might still be figuring out what the best options may be. So here we see that we have the Iliad and Rumi, the Whirling Dervish here as well. Some other books here that are in the collection. So let's add to this list over here. So we're going to type in, let's see, we'll do a simple search on Rome. Let's look for stuff about Rome. Okay, so we got a DVD series that's here, but we want to talk about something related to Roman history. So Rome, so Augustus. Let's say we want to take out Augustus. So we'll go into here, and we see that we'll click on this, all copies. We see that we have a audiobook on the life of Augustus here. And if we want to further explore the account, we can scroll down and we see here that we got the author, all that metadata we mentioned, so the title, the author, publication, subjects, notes, summary, ISBN, UPC, length, 13 discs, about 15 hours, additional contributors, John Curlis. So different options here that we had discussed before. And so let's say we found the book that we want. We want to add this to our list. We can just click Add, and we can either create a new list. So we're going to do Roman history. Save, and now we have a new list. If you find this book and you're like, wow, I should get stuff that's similar to this, so we can browse the virtual bookshelf. Okay, so we're going to go back. We'll use a different example for that. There we go. All right. I think it only works for whatever your local library is. So here it has Josephus Daniels, Democrat, and you can select different books that are on the same shelf as it. So the computer and the system knows what order that books are lined up in. And here we have all different books, and we don't have to it's not just showing us where this is located. We can actually shift a little bit. So we'll go to the next set. And here we can select this book here, just a country lawyer, a biography of Senator Sam Ervin. So here we have kind of a really cool way of being able to jump around and see what's on the shelf before we actually go there to see where it's located. So it helps with knowing how to find things. And if you're doing serious research, usually call numbers talk about pertain to a particular subject. So if you're looking for something about World War I, more than likely most of the World War I books will be around each other on that first shelf. So this Browse Virtual Shelf is a really useful tool for looking for books that are related to it, related to that particular subject, to that particular book. So if you're placing a bunch of holds at once, that's a really easy way to do that. So we've done that, shown you how to do that. Next, we are going to move on back to our account. So we're going to go to our saved lists, and here we have Roman history, that's one list, and then we got test list, which is another one. So we're all set with these. We don't need these lists anymore, so we can click here and we can remove from list if we wanted to. But I won't do that with these quite just yet. We're just gonna click on this, click on author, so it organizes it by author for viewing, publication date, by title, or by local call number. And you can select all these. You can either place them all on hold if you're ready to go with all of them, or you can remove from list. Now, another really neat tool that's in here is View Bibliography. It defaults, unfortunately, it only has one bibliographical option, but it's very useful if you're working with MLA, for example. Here, it gives you what the bibliography for it is, and all you have to do is just select it, copy, and paste to a Word document, and then you're all set to go. So, very useful for kind of tracking your sources and the whole bit. Very, very helpful, very useful. So here, we're just going to remove from list because we're not going to order these books. So that list is empty. We go here. We have this, and this list can exist here. Let's say it's a rotating list of stuff. You can either rename it or you can just outright delete it. So we'll just delete it. And so there we have all this that's located. Yeah, so it's really, really useful stuff. And also you can print this stuff. The get RSS link, don't worry too much about that. It's kind of technical. You probably won't need to use it. But as I said, very useful stuff that's here, especially if you're doing research. Now, saved searches, you go here. This is for any searches that you conduct. If you are in the midst of doing research and you want to save your spot, but you need to go or you need to walk away from it for a little bit, you can save a search. So here, we're going to resume a search that we did the other day called cats. So we'll click on that, and it brings us up to all of the filtered stuff that we put in for there. So it saves exactly this, this view that we have of it. And so it's really, really convenient. It saves any filters that you put in here, which we will talk about in just a second. And you can pick up right where you left off. So very, very easy, very, very convenient, a very useful tool. So here we've done all this stuff. There's not too much else we can talk about. So here we have talked about pretty much everything in here. We're going to go back and talk a little bit about holds in a second, but pretty much everything has been covered for the most part in this section. So very convenient for us to use. The next thing we are going to move on to is talking about, well, we're on a search right now. Let's start playing with the different settings that are in here. So here we have a traditional list view. We can hit flow. So here, if we're a more visual type of person, we can just have one book at a time kind of appear, and we can go from book to book to book and press next to see what options there are. If you want to take each one under consideration, then that's a good way to go. I personally prefer a list because I like seeing all that information all at once, but if you really want to examine each book as you go along, you can do that, and it makes it a little bit easier to do. The next thing over here is select action, and you have to actually select the items here, and you can either place a hold for all the stuff that you have here, or you can just unclick this and just select one thing and place a hold for that one particular thing, or add to a list. And very easy, very simple to go right to whatever action that you want to do. Now, the next thing we're going to go to is actually placing a hold for a particular item. So we're going to go to this first book here, Cats, and we're going to go to place hold. And here, there's a couple of options here. Now, I'm going to tell you the best way in which to search stuff, a best way to place a hold for something. So here, we could go straight through and say that we're going to select Tyrrell County is the place it's going to go. So this computer knows I am a Tyrrell County patron because I've logged in my account, and the librarian has noted me as a Tyrrell County patron. So anything I send, its default, it's going to go to Tyrrell County. I can select over here different locations. So if I know I'm going to be in Perquimans County in the following days, and you want to pick it up there, then you can do that. And it makes it easier so you don't have to travel all the way to elsewhere to get it. You might just have to wait a little bit, but you can have it delivered to Perquimans County or the regional office of Shepherd Prudent Memorial Library or Washington County. Very convenient. You don't have to pick it up at your home library area if it's not convenient for you. This is a way to do that. The next thing you can do is I want the first available copy. So if there are multiple copies of a particular item in a system, you can just press select button, and whatever one that comes up first and that's available will automatically have a hold placed on it. I find that if you do I want a specific copy, you can click that. That way you can see if there's a whole list of them that are on hold, especially with ones that are on high demand. So here we have Shepherd Prudent Memorial Library, program materials, and we see that it's checked in. Let's go to a different search just to give you an idea. So let's see. We'll do Where the Crawdads Sing. So here we have Where the Crawdads Sing, and we have all of our different locations, and we see that this one's checked out here, and we want to place here. We have all of them checked in except this one here. You might want to place a hold, so we'll go and place a hold. We want it to be at Tyrrell, but you want a specific copy. And then here we have listing all the statuses here of those books. So here we can, since we are in Tyrrell County right now, we could select Tyrrell County and submit the hold. And so there, it's been submitted to our holds. And if you want to make sure that it's been put through, you go through to your account. So we'll go to our holds. Hold on. Yep, hold has been successfully placed. So we might have to go back to here, and there it is. It just took it a second to upload. So there is our hold. It has gone through the system. It's been placed on hold, and it will be available at the front desk when we arrive at the library. How wonderful. But here we're going to cancel hold. You can do a couple of different options here as well. So here you have suspend hold. So let's say that you're not quite ready for a book, and you know it's a popular book, so you'll just suspend the hold. So when you suspend it, you just say that I'm going to keep my place in line, but you can go in front of me for now, and I'll come back to it later. So you suspend the hold, and then you can reactivate the hold when you're done suspending it. So when you've reactivated it, then your spot in line becomes activated, and then you'll be the next one to get it in line. So here we're just going to cancel hold outright, and we'll do that, and there it's canceled. So awesome. We're going to go back to searching for cats, and so here we are. So let's look around at the different options here over on this side. So we already kind of mentioned some of the filters that you can put into place. You can select location. So let's say that I want Tyrrell County stuff. So here we filtered it down to Tyrrell County, and we have 405 books that are 405 items, not books, not just books, on cats. So here we have a whole list of different cat books that we want. Let's say we don't want a book, or we just want a book. We can select on a few different filtered format items. So here we can do projected. And projected essentially covers the bases on the different formats that are available out there. So if something is a DVD, it will be listed here. Anything that's projected that can be used for film is listed here. And this is stuff that's related to cats. So cats are in the title. So we've done a simple title and subject search that hits on all the different areas. So we just have, like for example, IT pops up because we have cats somewhere in this this description, somewhere in this. So we're going to go back, and so it's grabbing all the stuff that has the word cat located somewhere in the record for it, or cats somewhere located in the record for it. The next thing we can do is last year is new titles, so stuff that's come out in the previous year, like you know if something's new. So here we have the title Cats that came out in the past year. And we can remove these filters. Let's say it's too narrow. We can remove last year and just bring it back to the regular system, just looking at our stuff. You can look also by author. It will list specific authors as well and give you all the lists. So here, let's say, we'll go with Cynthia Ryland. So Cynthia Ryland writes a lot of books about cats, and say we want books just from her. So that's a good way to narrow it down as well. We also have Lexile. Again, same thing that we did before. You can select different Lexile levels. You can also select different reading levels as well. Collection as well. So if you're, let's remove a couple of things here. So we'll remove that for Cynthia Ryland. Let's say you're looking for adult books on cats. So let's go to our collection, and we're just going to want books that are written for adults about cats. So here we have books that are about cats, but only for adults that we have located in the system. So that's a real neat way of kind of filtering through things. The next thing we can do in our filters that we can apply, and you can have multiple filters at the same time. It doesn't mean that you have to do one at a time. You can have multiple ones at a time on there. We have our series tag. So we have Pete the Cat. So as I said, now everything has a series thing attached to it. Like we have the Warrior. I know we have more than 5 Warrior books in our collection, but there are a number of our books do have the series stuff attached to it. And so you can search up by that. That might be a helpful tool as well if you're searching. You also have media characterization. So if you have something specific, like a Blu-ray player, unfortunately I don't think we have any DVDs that pop up that are specifically Blu-ray, but you can select what sort of media characteristics you want. So that you can narrow it down, especially if you have a Blu-ray versus a DVD. So contributor role, so somebody who might not be the author, but somebody who maybe contributed to particular books as well, like Dean James or Dave Pilkey. So Dave Pilkey, before he was doing his own books and everything, actually was was an artist as well. Like here, this is a little bit of fun trivia. Here, Dave Pilkey, obviously he has his comic books that are very popular with the kids, but if you look at some of his earlier works before he was writing his own books, he was just an illustrator for many kids' books out there, where he wasn't necessarily making the story, but he was making the illustrations for the story. So a little bit of fun trivia there. So we're gonna remove this filter here. And let's see, contributor role, publication year. So this might be more relevant for if you're trying to find a particular edition of a book. You might want to look up the publication year. So it has tagged next to it in its metadata format what year something was published. So here you can narrow it down to, hey, I want all the books that came in 2020 that are about cats at the Tyrrell County Public Library. Well, we have 21 books about cats that came in the year 2020 that are about cats. So very convenient, very cancel. We're going to remove that. Yeah, very convenient, easy to do. Primary audience. So here you might have rated system of TV rating, not rated, 4 to 6. You might have for age groups, TV rating not rated as well. 1 to 2 for grades, ages 4 to 8, MPAA not rated. There's other options here that you can do. It kind of narrows it down to give you an idea as to what you can grab onto. So here we have also genre. So mystery fiction, we have a lot of mystery fiction, video recordings, detective and mystery novels, graphic novels, fantasy fiction, fiction television programs. Have a whole bunch of stuff that you can put in there. This kind of gets out of the tags and the subjects that we have there. This is kind of an extension of that. That's available. We also have the subject here, so fiction about fiction, books that are about cats, books that are about dogs, books that are about fantasy, drama, juvenile, all sorts of different good options that we got here. You can apply any combination of these and it'll help find exactly what you're looking for. The next thing you have is English and Spanish. So let's take a look at what we have for Spanish. We have Cat in the Hat in Spanish, El Gato en Sombrero, and Yoko by Rosemary Wells. So these are two books in our collection that are in Spanish about cats. Very useful, very helpful. So we're going to deselect that, and that's kind of a lot of the stuff covered. The last thing we're going to cover is I'm just going to cover the record itself and the different options that you have here. So we're going to click on Spooky Night. And well, let's go back and let's select all, because I want to be able to compare for you other stuff that's available. So here we're going to click on this book right here, and here the regular info that it gives you, the default settings is a quick summary of the book, where it's located. So if it identifies you as specifically a Tyrrell patron, it'll be here. And even if you come into the library and go onto one of our computers here, it's going to automatically default to Tyrrell County because you're in Tyrrell County Public Library. So it will automatically do that. The other thing that you have here is your AR level of interest, AR points, title, authors, publication, subjects, all that good stuff that we talked about a little bit earlier. The other thing you can do are all copies. So Tyrrell County only has one copy of it. And our details, again, it defaults to details that first time you click on something. So here it's got all that. And then you have the number of times it has had holds placed on it. So it's had 0 holds placed on it. So it's not a super into high demand book, but it tells the amount of times that has been checked out in our collection. And you also have the mark record, which is located here. Here, if you're looking for more detailed information about it, more of that bibliographic metadata information is all located here. Don't really need to worry about this. I mean, it's useful to know about, but I mean, it's not exactly something you need to have, need to know about too much. It's not too much going on here. So yeah, that's pretty much a little tour of the records. And the other feature that you can do here is you can actually go to the next page, click on the sides here, and go like as we did before with the flow option in there. If you're zoomed into a record, you can do the same thing and go from one to the other easily and see where everything's located, who has it and who doesn't have it. So very useful tools here indeed. So I think we've kind of exhausted much of the stuff in here. So we're going to go back to the main menu. So we'll click on here again. And, you know, we're just going to look through this real quick. And I think we've pretty much covered all the bases here for pretty much most of the stuff. So I'm just going to log out here. And now we're back to our regular account. We are logged out of here. And now the next thing we're going to do of kind of quick stuff to talk a little bit about, but we're not going to dive into, is the stuff that you've probably noticed hanging out in the corner up here. eBooks, Kids Catalog, and Library Home. So the first one we're going to talk about is Kids Catalog. I'm going to open a different tab so we can just easily come back to this. And this is a catalog developed specifically for the interest of children. So if you have children that, you know, a lot of children might still be learning how to work with a computer and work with their researching skills, this is a very easy way to introduce them to that. It's kind of interactive and fun. So here, as you see, you have stuff that's categories. So we click on this, and we got books all about Kwanzaa. And these kind of change daily. They're not all the same thing, always the same thing. We also have stuff on the Olympics that are randomly selected in our collection. And as you can see here, like with a record, we have whether or not something's out or in. So we're going to click on this book. This book is in. And you've got a number of copies, who has it. So Tyrrell has it. Summary, compares and contrasts, a little summary of it. Reading levels, says the reading levels. Other details all listed down here. You can scroll up and down to kind of see everything that's in here. And similar to placing a hold, you can say, I want this. Do you want this library to save this for you? Do you want the library to save this for you? Yeah, you can click on that and it'll place a hold for it. It's another way of placing a hold. So we're just going to click no on that. And now we're back to that. We're going to go back to our categories. So we get all this here, and it kind of goes on to the next page, and it changes from day to day. Another thing we have is series and chapter books. Here, you just click on what seems new and relevant to you. So we'll click on Roald Dahl, because we like Roald Dahl. And we have, look, Eso Trout. That's a good book. Matilda, a couple of different editions of Matilda on here. We have The Giraffe and Pelly and Me. All these are really good books. So you can get all of a particular author or series in one place that you can go to. And similarly, you can place a hold on that. Then you have Spot in the corner over here. You can click on Spot, and he brings you back to the main menu, or you can go through and search through different categories. And of course, you have the search area up here. So I want to search up something on, since we're going with animals today, we're going to go search up pigs, because everybody likes pigs. See, and we got a ton of books that are on pigs over here, and it's a little bit more interactive for the kids. There's not a heck of a lot of options that can be done in here, but you can at least place a hold on it, and it's an easy way for kids to work with a catalog system. It seems a little bit fun to work with and not so serious, especially if they're learning how to use the computer. So very easy and cool tools here for the kids out there. And again, you can change language as well, and you can go back to the catalog home. So we're all set here, and we're going to exit out of this. There's not too many options in there for the kids, but it's available, and the kids can work with it, and they're not going to get overwhelmed with all texts that text that is a little bit more technical. So the next things we're going to talk about, and we're just going to talk about them briefly. We're not going to really explore them because they're quite a video in themselves. Are the ebooks? Click on that, and here we have our ebooks. It's a quick link that you can go to explore our ebook collection that you can place holds on stuff. Miss Ashley created a video on this. This should be posting soon, but again, she explains how you can use this and how you can place a hold out on stuff. It's very, very cool. So that's available, and then we also have our library home tab. So we'll click on that, and here we are at our library's website, which is pettigrewlibraries.libguides.com. And here you can go through and see the different libraries, what's going on at each of them, all the different resources that we have here. Yeah, so this stuff is available here. I'm going to exit out of this. But yeah, so our catalog has a lot of options for you to use. You only need to call us to set up your library card to log into this, but it gives you a lot of ability to go in there, place holds as you need to, do some good research and save your spot in terms of all the information you gather while you're researching. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm sure I probably missed a couple of things, but it's a lot of things that we covered today. So thank you again for joining us at the Tyrrell County Public Library's virtual computer class. I hope you join us next time. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and you have a great day. Goodbye.